This is NXL 360, but he's 1010. Former Orlando Pirates wearing a Spanish. Yeah, that's a nice jersey 1010 for Spain, right? Yeah, you must try to move on with times and get a new one. I mean, it's not gonna hurt.
I was waiting for the second star team. Now I can get it.
Yeah, definitely. Spain won the World Cup as predicted by me, because like when I say things, people just don't believe me. But I did say it before the World Cup starts, Spain is gonna win the World Cup simply because I see things other people don't see. No, I'm joking. It's a matter of like watching football and getting to know that this team is more balanced than the other one. They're playing as a unit. I think unity is strength in football. Guys, very interesting World Cup 10-10. I don't know what you take about it. We saw Spain beating Argentina 1-0, right? Yeah, 1-0. Yeah. What Before we move on to the story of today, obviously, want to talk about Tapelo Masego. Sundowns want to release him, want to speak about Sehopato Mabato. It looks like Mr. Rulane Mkwena is looking at him while in Cairo. Then there's Peter Shaulile. The very interesting thing about Shaulile is he is a player, used to be a player for Sundowns. His contract has expired. But we hear that he asked the Sundowns management to release him. I think his contract was left with an option to renew. Then Sundowns said it's fine, provided you cannot join Orlando Pirates. I love that one. I think that's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. 10-10. What was your take on the World Cup? Did it reach your expectations? Were you impressed? How did, maybe if you can give us maybe your 60 seconds quick overview. How did Spain win a World Cup according to you?
Yeah. Good morning, Nadim, and to the viewers as well. I think, to be honest, the World Cup was very interesting. Yes, we all know it was the first World Cup hosted by 3 nations with an increased number of countries. Spain, I think, like you've already touched, it won the World Cup with unity and the dominance that they had. They did not seem as if like they started good. People were doubting and questioning capability and ability yabo. But it's more or less the same way as they did when they were here in South Africa. And funny enough is that they won the final again 1-0 like they did against the Netherlands. So they are a formidable side. They are a country that produces good quality players. The nicest thing is that they play everywhere. It's not only in Spain. They have players in England, in Spain, but versatility in terms of acclimatization and their unity. I think it's what carried them, And more so, I think they defended well with the ball. That's why they only even conceded 1 goal. Look at what they did to Argentina. 0 shots on target against the defending champions. It really shows what they knew and they were direct with what they wanted to do. They really dominated. I think the teams that at least gave Spain a bit of a fear and a run for their money for me now was Portugal a bit, because they scored in the last minute and Portugal created also goal scoring opportunities, and Belgium when they played against Belgium as well. But overall, they did what they needed to do and they became victorious. We saw how angry Argentinian players were after the game. I mean, they deserve to win it.
Yeah, no, they deserve to win it. To win it. The interesting thing about Spain is that they are dominating the world's football. Obviously, they won 2003. They won the Women's World Cup. 2004, won the UEFA Euro, and then 2005 won the Women's Nations League, and now they are winning the World Cup. So all the major awards from the women, they are holding it. Even some of the junior tournament, they definitely, Spain is the best nation when it comes to football. They're doing the right thing. They have proper leaders, not like Danny Jordan, who's in court. Their leaders are running the team. They are not trying to do illegal things, win fake elections and all that nonsense. The people who run Spanish football, they are not politicians. They care about football. They don't care about like Danny Jordan, where you see like Danny Jordan cares about himself, that as long as he's alive, he needs to be running stuff. He doesn't care about South African football. He doesn't care about anything. So that's why I like Spanish football. That even the guy who kissed that girl during the Women's World Cup, that former president of Spanish, they remove him. There was a story about him. There wasn't anything which I'm gonna hold my seat. They said no. Get someone else, you step aside, then someone else is running the Spanish football. I think a lot of countries can learn, especially African countries who don't want to improve, because we've got people in Africa who think they own football, especially Chippa Mpengezi can own Chippa United, but you can't own Safa. No one can own Safa. So Teni Jordane is not an owner of Safa. So that's how it is. Okay, then moving on to local football. We hear that Mamelodi Sundowns, the story that Shaulile, when it ended, Mamelodi Sundowns allegedly put a clause that he mustn't join Orlando Pirates. Is it fair for Shaulile? What's your take about that if it's true? Because I spoke to people who are also close to Sundowns. Some of them, they agreed with, yes, it's true. Sundowns did put a clause that Shaulile must not join Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates. What will take about that thing if Sundowns have 4 strikers? They've got Brian Leon, they've got Charles Mailula, they've got Motiba, they've got Reyners. Then Shaulile was a 5th striker now, but they still don't want him to play in the PSL.
If that is true, Nadim, it's very saddening for the player, because it limits him now. Guma options as to where he can go, and it seems as if like it would be dictated so that it does not go to direct competitors. And why I'm saying that, I'm looking at the statement that you just issued now. Kaizer Chiefs finished third, Orlando Pirates finished first, Mamelodi Sundowns finished second. So they don't want uShalulile, if that is true, ukuthi abe a direct competitor yabo in terms of competing for the leagues and other accolades as well. But it shouldn't be like that, man. If you are not going to use a player, I think let him go wherever he is needed, because now it would end up forcing a player to go in a place where he is not needed or he does not want to be there. The places that he would have wanted to be there and play and still compete. Maybe he still wants to increase his PSL goal scoring record, because currently he dethroned Peleno Mvete, if I'm not mistaken. So now when you are subjecting him to saying you can play for any other teams apart from Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, it's somewhat unfair. So it means they still see a value of what he can produce, and it's not nice to hear such. I kind of feel a player should be able to play wherever he wants to and wherever the teams that would want to have him. He should be free to go as he's a free agent. Those clauses are something that shouldn't be included to deprive a player an opportunity to still fulfill his targets, his goals. If that statement is true, I think it's somewhat unfair for uShalulile. Then it only opens the bigger opportunities outside of the Betway Premiership, because any other teams that he would go to, if he's not going to Pirates, if he's not going to Kaizer Chiefs, and he's being released by Mamelodi Sundowns, that means he's taking a step down.
Yeah, no, it's a step down. I wonder if the president and the chairman of Sundowns is aware that Flemingberg is putting such a clause. I think Flemingberg is unfair in doing so, honestly speaking. I think the management of Sundowns needs to intervene, because it will look like Sundowns are killing South Africa. No, not even South Africa. Anyways, if you are from Namibia, you're South African anyway. It will look like, because for me, like Namibia and South Africa is one thing. Because that's why they say if you were born in 1990, before 1990, you are regarded as South African. It looks like Sundowns will be killing the future of Shaulile, if you're going to say the team where is supposed to pick, where it could potentially get a lot of money. It's Sundowns, at Pirates or Chiefs. Then you say he cannot join those teams. That's a bit disappointed, but I believe it's true. Another player also who might have that kind of a clause, Thapelo Maseko. He wants to leave Sundowns, obviously. It looks like they left him just like they left him. Again, it's the same story. It's fine. You can leave Sundowns on loan or permanent, but not to Chiefs and Pirates. What's your take on that?
Maseko, history Saka Maseko, it's very saddening. And if now he's got the same clause, which allegedly he can't join Pirates or Kaizer Chiefs, but he's free to go anywhere else. The boy is still young. The boy has got a potential to help both those teams. We saw what he did in the World Cup after he cried not getting a game time in Mamelodi Sundowns. If they feel good, they're not going to use the player, they should then allow any other teams to open the doors and meet my expectations with player Nadim, because we know if he's going to be playing here in South Africa and is not playing for the big three with the quality that he possesses, chances are it might deprive him his spot sack in the national team. As we saw when he joined Mamelodi Sundowns, he lost his spot, which is something maybe I feel he was crying about, to say he's no longer playing as he's used to. And when you're young, you want to play while there's still time. And something that I also picked up, which is a concern to me, it's the fact, Nadim, when you reach a certain age here in South African football, once you get into your 30s, they regard you as old, as not that valuable as you used to be. But if they going to deprive a young player like Thapelo Masego as well, not to be able to spread his wings if he still wants to play in the Betway because he went away on loan. I'm not sure if he was comfortable enough, if he was happy to be there, but I think the fact of him getting a game time and playing and being awarded the opportunity to play for the national team and play in the World Cup, it might have revived him. It might have gave him a new leaf of hope. So if probably he wants to come back at home to be in and around the family, and Mamelodi Sundowns feels Uguti he won't be getting enough game time like previously it happened, then they should allow the other teams to improve and bulk up their squad so that the competitive level can be equal. It will make the Betway Premiership interesting as well. It's not only about the player, but once the competitive level is as high, it brings a lot of interest, from the people that are watching football. The sponsorships gets excited because they know there's more and more teams that are going to be dominant and competing in the league. It won't only be subjected to one team or two teams.
Yeah, no, definitely. When it's come to, we are right there. When it comes to Masego is a player who cried that he wanted game time. He went to the World Cup, scored the only goal for Bafana Bafana in the open play. I'm sure it's also going to be like Shabalala in the next few World Cups. It's going to be attending FIFA events, sitting in the presidential suite because of scoring that goal. Yeah, but the problem is that with him, he wants to play, which is fine. To Sundowns is a problem if you're a player and you say you want to play. They just want you to be like Pasadena sometimes and stay. That you are not complaining, you play and all this kind of. You just stay. So I find it very strange. Okay, and another problem with Sundowns is Saleng. Looks like we're talking about Sundowns. Ngizosikholela Masanta. Saleng again. Saleng, actually, there've been a lot of things. It's not been a smooth sailing ride for Saleng since joining Mamelodi Sundowns from Orlando Pirates. Remember, Orlando Pirates sold Saleng to Sundowns for 20 million in January. 20 million. With 6 months left in the contract, Pirates paid, Sundowns paid 20 million for Saleng. Okay. He joined Sundowns, he scored 1 goal, 2 assists or so. That was against Kukune. From there, other games is not playing. He came as a sub. And then there was this game against Polokwane City. That's where the problem started. He was in the lineup. Allegedly, they said he told the coach just before the match that he must remove him, or maybe an hour or two before the game. He must remove him. Doesn't want to play Swagash. Okay, even in the Champions League, Sundowns obviously won the Champions League, but prior to them leaving the country, he requested the management allegedly that he doesn't want to travel with the team to Morocco because akazizwa kahle again, or he's got some family, what. Obviously, there was not that, no one was sick at his house, but he just have that kind of an excuse. He even got the medal in the past when they were celebrating. He was not there. Even though all the players at Sundowns, they were taken to Morocco to see Sundowns, obviously trying to win the second star, of which they successfully did. Well, and now, the story is that now, Saleng is not part of the team that went to Austria. Has been left behind. Obviously, I can tell. For me, the way I look at it, it looks like Saleng is gonna leave Sundowns. It looks like they have hard fall with him. But the problem with that is that he's still a 4.5 year left on his contract. Remember, he signed a 5-year contract. So Sundowns are stuck with him. One, I don't think Chiefs can sign him. That's the team map you think he can match that can match the salary is getting at Sundowns or Amazulu, because Amazulu, I hear these days have a lot of money because Thabo Xele was offered more than what he was getting. Amazulu offered Thabo Xele more than what he was getting at Chiefs, but obviously said they want to stay at Chiefs. Okay, where to for Saleng now? Because it looks like it's not going in the preseason. For me, Tenten, let us be. You've been in preseason many times. I'm sure you'll also agree with me as a football supporter that immediately a player is out of the preseason, it means that players is leaving the team. Is it the case? Where to for Saleng? What do you think is going to happen? What do you know about him? Can his career be safe? I think I've asked you 4 questions.
Yeah, definitely. You bombarded me with a lot of questions. No, it was good, man, to see Saleng getting a game time again when he went to Orbit College. And when he moved to Sundowns, like I already said, it's a better team. When you are at Mamelodi Sundowns, Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates, I think you are in an establishment that is well established, so to say. And already chances of him going back to Orlando Pirates are slim to none. And if he does leave Mamelodi Sundowns, chances of him going to Kaizer Chiefs, I don't see it happening, because maybe Mamelodi Sundowns would not just want to let him go for free, where else we know the story about the target that Kaizer Chiefs have for the boy with Stellenbosch, of which the asking price it's around 15 million allegedly, if I'm not mistaken. And if Mamelodi Sundowns bought Usaleng for 20 million, I think they would want to cash in and either come closer to that or get more, because now he's got a CAF medal, which might probably increase his value. So it would be sad to hear stories if maybe there was nothing happening with him and he asked to be taken out of the lineup, which was an opportunity. I think as a player, you want to play as many games as you could. And once you've been given an opportunity as a starter, you want to grab it with both hands. But if stories like that are going to come out, he asked to be taken out, I hope he was really sick, or he was really, really not feeling well, because it can happen. You might eat something, might disturb your system, and you don't feel confident enough, and you don't want to go into the field of play and not give your maximum performance, because that also might deprive you an opportunity to be considered for the next game or for the next future. So I hope Indaba Kasaleng gets to be resolved, because he's one of the players that has a huge potential in making the Betway Premiership interesting. When he is in his good form, he can perform like absolutely great. We saw what he was doing when he was at Swallows. He was scoring goals for fun. When he went back to Orlando Pirates, his mother team at that time, he was still contributing, assisting, and he was so influential in the CAF competitions when Orlando Pirates was playing, and him being given an opportunity by Mamelodi Sundowns, I hope he rethinks and probably could have a sit in with the management so that he could be given an opportunity to fulfill his potential. Because it's easier, Nadim, for me. I normally say, for a player who's got a capability of performing at his best and be recognized, even out of South Africa, when they are competing against quality players as well, because like iron sharpens iron. When if I don't perform, who's sitting on the bench for me, once he grabs this opportunity and he walks with it, my chances of playing are going to be slim. So it pushes you as well as a player, and it helps you to improve, to reach the next level. So it would be saddening to see him leave. And if he leaves Mamelodi Sundowns, chances are he would go to teams like maybe AmaZulu, maybe Siwelele, maybe, you don't know, or maybe the newly promoted teams, of which we saw how he performed.
What I want to know from you, what's your take, the fact that Sundowns have left him out of the camp? What does it mean? That Sundowns are in Austria, but he's not there?
There's a high possibility that he might not be considered for the newly coming season, because there's no way a team can go to camp and leave one of the players that they consider, unless there's something really, really happening that they had to exclude him. Because the camp, we know, it's a short trip. And why I'm saying it's a short trip, in most cases, the preseason takes close to 6 weeks, a proper preparation year, a preseason. So he might be missing maybe on a week or 2 weeks if there's something that is seriously making him to stay behind and not travel with the team. But he would have at least covered 4 weeks he had spent with the team. But if in totality he's missed the preseason and he's not being considered, it means they're already considering him moving out of the team. Like it happened, Masego. I saw the statements in many platforms saying they've considered him getting a loan move or him getting a team that could sign him permanently, But with Usaleng being omitted and there's no stories as yet, probably they are reconsidering. And remember, they also signed this boy, Van Wyk. Up front, they might feel as if they are sorted and they don't want to deal with a person who time and two is going to want to be excluded from the team, being taken out of the lineup last minute. They are also looking as to, does he still really have a place here or not? Do we still have a space to use him or we don't? And if the players that they traveled with, to preseason are performing, they might reconsider him being part of the team. So there's a high possibilities would once Bakshid, chances you are part of the plan for the new season are very slim. So we don't know how that is going to happen, considering the fact that he still has 4.5 years in his contract left, if not 2, because in most cases they just say 4 years, but you only have 2 and the other 2 is an option, which is not a guarantee. You have the other 2. You only have the 2 that is on paper. If they don't exercise the 2 option, then it was only 2 years into your contract,
Yeah, the interesting thing with that is that obviously Sundowns just bought him. A lot was expected from. I don't think Sundowns though wanted Saleng. I think the only reason they signed him is because he took them out of the MTN 8. They wanted to make Pirates weak. I don't think Sundowns wanted Saleng. I don't think they needed him. If you look at their squad, Sundowns have the best squad in the PSL. Overall, they are
But he
solid.
was already not needed at Orlando Pirates as well, unless they were distracting Orbit College.
No. At Pirates was not needed because of his bad behavior that is putting. Remember, Usaleng is doing exactly what he was doing when he was at Pirates. Not coming to training, lying that he's sick, lying that he's got family problems, lying that he's not okay and all that nonsense. I mean, this boy is not appreciating his career. I know what was happening at Pirates, not like fully, but I know that he also was displaying such behavior. That's the reason why Pirates ended up loaning him to Orbit College. It's displaying the same bad behavior. It looks like one, I blame his mother, Saleng. I feel like the reason why I blame his mother 10-10 is because I saw the interview on Sunday World where his mother confirmed, came out public when he was not playing at Pirates. Remember, Pirates were saying he was sick when he was not sick. So I won't be shocked if Pirates come up with a story and say Saleng is sick. Because Jose Rivero lied and said Saleng was sick, was not well. Well, Saleng was well. Why I know that Rivero was lying is because the mother did an interview with the father with Sunday World where they said our child is not playing because at Pirates is getting paid 70,000. While players like Hoto, they are getting paid 500,000. They felt Saleng should have been getting more money than Hoto because they believed Saleng was the one who was the best player at Pirates. So if you've got a parent who's going to tell you, because when a way best player lap and they were holding my what are you going to do with 70,000 when their players were getting paid 500,000? So I don't know. So I feel like the parents actually, because it's been like, I spoke to someone I know who's close to Sundowns, he told me the same thing. That even in the Champions League, he's the one who said he doesn't want to travel with the team. The team just spent 20 million on you. They are paying you a salary that you wanted. And now, because he said he's happy when he joined Sundowns, meaning that he got the salary, I'm not sure how much he's getting paid. But he did an interview with the DJ's podcasters at Sundowns, who he told them on the pitch. I think something like Sundowns on the pitch. He said he's happy, basically. But now is not the happiness. We don't see him playing. We don't see him showing that he's happy, part of being Sundowns. It's always excuses when it comes to him. For me, I feel like there's a problem with him personally. He's killing his own career. And he's not the first player to kill his career. Remember Tuchel Oranto? Tuchel Oranto married a woman from Midrand. I wouldn't say that woman was that beautiful, 10-10. She was okay, let me just say that. And then the woman was now selling his land and all those kind of things. He stopped playing football because of a woman. I think Saleng also, there's a woman behind this nonsense. It's a pattern. What? How can, before we move on to Kaizer Chiefs 10-10, our segment, how can this boy help as a former player? What is it that needs to be done? Because football is a short-term career. As you said, rightfully said, PSL teams immediately 10, 30 years. They take you as an old player. They are not going to sign you. You'll struggle to get a team. That's why Mabasa, as we speak, Mabasa doesn't have a team. Honestly speaking, I thought, okay, before moving to Mabasa, what's your take about that Saleng issue and not training and all? What do you know? Because I'm sure you know you speak to certain people also.
When it comes to Saleng, I don't really have that much, Nadim, because I don't know the boy personally, and it would be lies if I could say lifestyle Saleng is like this and that. It's only based on whatever that I hear or I see on the socials and the other platforms. But if there definitely is a woman who is influencing him to kill his career, he need to reconsider. And I normally say to people, don't wait to become the history that people can learn from you. Try and go and grab the information from the people who have walked the path, because normally we often say experience is the best teacher, but you can learn from other people's experiences as well, so that you can give a better experience to to the younger generations that are coming before, like after you. So if that's the case, there's nothing that is disturbing his footballing path, his footballing career. It's only a woman. He should reconsider and introspect as to where to from here. Because we all know relationships come and go sometimes. It does not necessarily mean that's the end goal. If the person is not good for you and is not helping you to grow in your career, in your life as a human being, I think then you found yourself a wrong person. You should look into the mirror and really, really introspect as to, is this person helping me to become better, or he is just drowning me, So I think the people that are solely close to Monapule Saleng should try and have a sit, have a proper chat with him, try and find out what is the real cause that is delaying him to becoming what we know him to be, so that he can go back to the field and start doing what he enjoys and loves, what is putting bread on his table, what is helping him to succeed in life.
Yeah. No, that's true, 10-10, because we've been hearing stories. It's the same pattern again with Tuchel Oran. He sacrificed his career. A lot of teams gave him a chance, but it was not just. He was just putting the behavior. I'm scared of this. I don't know. And I don't know, these guys from Free State, where do they get these women who make them lose their mind instead of focusing their career?
Yeah.
Do you remember Tuchel Oranto, how he was also behaving exactly like Saleng?
One of the top players we had.
But I remember the story, what happened to him.
Not directly, but I remember he was going through difficulties with the women and his assets, this and that. But I don't have the actual facts.
What I know, I think he cheated, or the woman wanted out of the relationship. It looks like the things were registered on the woman. Then he bought a farm in Free State. I remember the story. There's someone who told me very well, who's very close to him. And then he just lost his mind after that, because the woman obviously wanted to leave him. I think he cheated. That's why, Chanten, when you get married, don't marry a woman who says when you cheat is gonna leave you. Those women are dangerous. And we're African men. In African culture, a black man cannot cheat. So don't marry a woman who says if she can find out that you have a relationship with someone else, she's gonna leave you. That is my advice. You're gonna remember me, 10-10.
Once you've picked a woman, Nadine, just stick with him. I always say to people, don't get married if you are not at the right state to be committed and fully focused on one person. So we can blame these women and whatsoever, but if we are at fault, then we have to deal with the repercussions that come with that. But Mina, my advice is always saying, get married when you are sure you are certain. If maybe you are still playing around and whatsoever, you are unsure, don't commit yourself in a situation that might compromise you.
So you think it's fine for a woman to leave a man for a woman to take everything a man owns because the woman is saying the man cheated? You think it's okay?
I think it's no longer like in the olden days, Nadim. And the reason why I'm saying that is because once you get married, there's a lot of advice that you can get. If you feel Uguti, you bringing a lot more than a woman, stipulate it down. Don't get married in community of property. Probably secure your assets and whatsoever, and then you say to this woman, let's build. Whatever that we are going to achieve in marriage, it's ours. Because somewhere, somehow, you might not have done anything wrong. Uthola ukuthi le ntombazana nayo ayikuthandi, ikuthandela what you have, Then once everything is secured, she leaves you for a person that she feels ukuthi she loves, she can build with, or she's destined to spend the rest of her life with. So secure your things and start a relationship. Unless if that woman started with you from the ground going, then commit and make sure that you treat the woman right, and then stipulate in your contract, because it's a contractual agreement. This thing is a contractual agreement to say, should you do wrong, I'm going to take this. Should I do wrong, you are going to have that. Then you guys know.
Remember, in my culture, 10-10 umswati, ayikho lento lezo. A man, you take a woman to be your wife. You don't take each other. So all those contracts, yes, the woman doesn't take you to be, you take the wife. So all those are kuluma from neutrality. Yeah. Let's get, okay, we are saying this, guys, it's not even a joke. A lot of PSL players who are so talented, like Tuchel Oran, we've seen them just not focusing on their career because of the women in their life. And allegedly, Saleng is the same thing. From what I'm hearing from people, it's the same thing. There's a woman who's just distracting him. Let's move on to Mabasa 10-10 before to move on to Kaizer Chiefs. Mabasa is also looking for a team. Just saw a story from Mazola Molefe. he's saying it looks like they're looking at him in Rolana's team. The interesting thing about Mabasa, I feel like, is a person who needs to go to this show. I blew it. When he was at Orlando Pirates, there was an offer. It's Esperance. At Esperance, it was like how it was reported by Mickey Jr., the Ghanaian journalist. He was gonna get almost double of what he's getting at Pirates. However, he came out public and said he's staying at Orlando Pirates because he's discussed with his family, he wants to stay at Pirates. For me, I've never seen such breathtaking carelessness. I think he was very careless, Mabasa. You know why I'm saying that? At Pirates, he was left with 1-year contract. And the Pirates have not told him we're renewing that contract. In your last year at Orlando Pirates, a big team like Esperance that has been winning Champions League comes, they want to buy you. They want to give you more than what you are getting in your club. But you are saying, no, I'm happy here. I want to stay here. I discuss and I hear that is not even married. He was dating a woman at Pirates. Maybe the family was that lady was dating. What to take about that? And another story also. What to take about Mabasa denying such a move? That move alone. Besides, never mind where we hear that he went to church, Bushiri told him that it's not going to be a successful career for him in Tunisia. Forget about that, Bushiri, because we all know Bushiri is a fake pastor in a way. He's even owing people in South Africa. He ran away with 100 million for church members. We know that he's a criminal pastor. What is your take about Mabasa denying that move, Tente?
I wouldn't be speaking from a point of view, Gamabasa, because I don't know what really led to him making such a decision, because sometimes it's the fear of unknown. Maybe he wanted to break records at Orlando Pirates. Maybe he felt that he's in a good space at Orlando Pirates. He's enjoying his football. Now going to restart a new life where you don't have a lot of people that you know, apart from whatever that offer was coming with. Maybe those are the nitty-gritties that he looked into and he was like, hey, I'm not going. Like we saw with Osman. There was a pastor that came up that said he mustn't go to Chelsea or something like that because he's not going to succeed, what. So we don't know how true these stories might be, or there might be similar occurrences between the two. But I think sometimes as players also, we should also look at our age, because PSL teams, and I'm going to state PSL teams, once you reach a certain age, they reconsider you. No matter how good you might still be performing, when you come to negotiations, you are at a back foot. You are no longer at an advantage. They want to use the age factor as an excuse as to why you shouldn't ask for more, this and that, which is something that shouldn't be happening, but it's something that we know and we are aware of that it's happening. You'd find players renewing their contracts, but they take salary cuts, which is something that is not nice. And you still have to give the same performances that you've been giving, or even better. But whatever that you are receiving now is lesser, which becomes a demotivation. But maybe he felt he was at the right place, and Orlando Pirates is a good team. Everything there is functioning properly. So, you get your money in time. There's no excuses. You train in the best pitch. When you play in a fully packed stadium. Everything increases, Nadim. Your integrity as a human being, how other people view you, how they see. Once you are doing good, you still want to be in and around that bracket of being celebrated, only to find out maybe you are missing an opportunity to even get greater things, because Esperance is also one of the big teams in Africa, always competing in the Champions League, and they're not just participating, but they are participating to win the championship as well. Maybe he would sit down, look back, and regret the decision that he took. Maybe it was a right decision. We'll see what happens next for him. But as it is, I think there should be reconsideration when we think about our next moves and whatever that we have on the table.
Yeah, no, you're right today. But so far, it looks like a very bad decision that he made. One would say, you should have asked Orlando Pirates, are you gonna keep me? Anyway, actually, there's a year left on your contract. The team is not coming to you with contract renewal. At that age, if he was 21, I will understand. That guy is not 21 years. At that age, you must know that the team doesn't want. No, is now having doubts about keeping you. Once they start delaying like that, they are thinking of moving away from you, basically. It's normal because teams that are serious to keep your services, we see what's happened. It happened with Williams. Within 2 years after signing a contract with Sundowns, they gave him a new contract. Same with Mkwena, because they wanted to keep him. They are showing they are being decisive that they want to keep you. Immediately, team wait until the last year of your contract. Then there's an offer. You keep quiet. Now it's painful to see Mabasa staying in dust, playing and practicing in bad pitch. Supposed to be maybe with Kaizer Chiefs in Spain. Obviously, it's not. It looks like Chiefs don't want to sign him or any of the other. I can't even believe that all the 16 teams, 15 teams in the PSL don't want to sign Mabasa. A guy who has such a great scoring record. 2 seasons ago was the top goal scorer in the league with 16 goals. It's just, with football, is unpredictable. If a player like Mabasa cannot get a team, now we're hearing that Rulan is looking at him. But it's just what it is. We don't know if it's going to be concrete or not. Remember, the player that, if he joins Pyramids, is going to be Fiston Maela, one of the who's going to Libya to play at Al Tripoli in Libya. You just realize that no, there's something about this team. Will they feel Mabasa is that kind of level of Fiston Maela? I don't know. So for me, I think that's very interesting. Obviously, we wish Mabasa to get a team. 10-10 as we wrap, our last story is that Kaizer Chiefs are back in the country from the preseason in Spain. Obviously, the only 2 players who were part of the preseason was Lina and Moloisan. New players. The rest are the same players who were there last season. Do you think Chiefs are ready for the new season? Kaizer Chiefs are back today from a Spain preseason tour. The only players who were there were new, the new signings. It was Lena, the goalkeeper from Sekhukhune, as well as Thabo Moloisan. With that in mind, Chiefs having let go of Serino, Morris, Happy Mashiane, Mahlow, and now Lilempo, and only bringing those 2 players. Do you think they are ready for new season? For a new season?
It's very difficult, Nadim, to say, depending on what Kaizer Chiefs wants to do. If they feel Uguti, they have enough squad in whatever that they have, chances of them going out of their will to sign players just for signing players, I think maybe they are waiting. This is my thought. It might not be correct. It might be correct. Maybe they were waiting for the coach to finally arrive. As we know, Guti, his contract started on the 1st of July, so that he can have a look at the overall team that he has and where he would want to improve, which players maybe he can sign to make sure that he improves his team, and if he can work with the players that he has to be able to take Kaizer Chiefs to their goal that they want to achieve. Because we know last season they wanted to finish in the top 2, which was somewhat a failure because they only finished in number 3. So if that's the only reason, then it's a good way to go about it, but which is somewhat a delay. Now you're going to have to bring in players who still has to adapt to the philosophy of the coach, what he wants, how he wants it to be done, and still have to find patterns with the players that are already there and they've already buy in the philosophy of the coach, because they were working with him away. And I'm so sure that while they were playing at Spain, he was having a look as to say, how are they improving? How is going to help them to improve? And now when you come as a new player and you did not have a full-on preseason with the team, you might have some sort of luck if you come in and gel, depending on the type of player that you are, how fast do you grasp and learn, or you might take even longer to adjust and start understanding what they want, how they play, what the coach needs from you, and how are you going to be in sync with the team that is already been there, which sometimes it becomes a disadvantage. I always feel it's always a bonus, for players to come in when the preseason start, so that they could be understanding between the players amongst themselves and the philosophy that the coach wants, and you can know and understand what the team is all about. Having to see them only signing 2 players, they replaced, I think, uMcCarthy with Thabo Moloisan, and they've gotten Lina for free as he was let go by Sekhukhune to replace Untwari, if I'm not mistaken, because he's also the goalkeeper that went to Kruger. And the other positions, like position Matlo, is not yet being filled. Position unless they are considering this boy who comes back also from loan, the midfielder, to be the one taking his spot, Saga Matlo or Samgelo. Maybe they are looking at Usamgelo to be the replacement. He understands the team. He knows the team dynamics. He was developed at Kaizer Chiefs. Maybe they feel Uguti, his loan from to Isiwelele might have become fruitful, and he's now at a stage where he can help the team's midfield to improve and be where they want it to be, And looking at the age of the boy, he's still young as well. And the left back position also, man, I think it still has a question mark, because you sometimes then look at the Kaizer Chiefs, they are playing Frosla, who's a right-footed player, ahead of the left footers. Maybe they feel Uguti he can be a backup in both sides, the right or the left. If he's not playing in the right side and they have a problem in the left, they can use him because he is ambidextrous. He can play with both feet. But it would come with limitations here and there. When you are not using your dominant foot as regularly as you should be, then there's going to be mistakes. Somewhere, somehow, you won't be able to come out nicely as you would with your dominant foot. But we are yet to see what they are considering. And they haven't replaced Lilepo as well. As you said, Uguti, he's jetted out. The move is final. He's not coming back to Kaizer Chiefs. Are they willing now to go with Usilva and Umayo and Punto, who's the other boy that is a striker? Are they also going to look into replacing that other one who wants to go back to Stellan?
You mean Tuba?
Yeah, Utu.
So Tuba.
Because
So what's your take about that one? Also, 10-10 Kaizer Chiefs releasing Lepo, who was a starter last season, releasing starters. For me, okay, before Lepo and also the Kele issue. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends, Nadim, as to how they decided in letting go. Maybe the coach looked at him and said, now it's okay. We can cash in with him, and use this money to beef up, maybe find better youngsters like the ones that Baba Pegile, Abo Pili, Probably that could be the direction Kaizer Chiefs is taking, because we know how they lost to Fabian. Umeketi, man, not to Fabian. Fabian's son.
Yeah, Aden Makad.
Yeah, Aden. We know how they lost to Aden. They triggered a buyout clause. What if he contract Lilepo now had a buyout clause? So there's nothing that they can do to keep him. The team gave Ulilepo an offer and he was happy about it, and they triggered a buyout clause, because amanyama contractual agreements we don't know, the fine print. Maybe that's how they ended up losing Ulilepo as well. It becomes a teacher to even the other youngsters to include all of those things, so that a team cannot stand in your way. Whether you are at Sundowns, whether you are at Kaizer Chiefs, once your contract has a buyout clause, if you are doing well and there's teams that are scouting you and they want to have your services and pay you better, then they can just trigger the buyout clause and make sure, Guti, you go and improve your life.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting one. The buyout clause is very important because it makes you, when you want to leave, it's easy for the other team to just pay the money without a question. Then you get released. But for Chiefs to release Lilepo, Kele, and with Kele, again, because he had a disagreement with Kezamtang June in the dressing room, they want him to leave. I don't know how that matter is going to be resolved, because obviously it's also a player who was highly rated when he joined Kaizer Chiefs. With Lilepo, again, I feel releasing him without a replacement again is a problem. My final assessment with Kaizer Chiefs is that I think they will regret releasing these coaches. I think the coaches had a way of working with what was there. Honestly, 10-10. I think they will regret releasing the coaches. I watched Kaizer Chiefs playing Elche on Saturday. There was nothing that tells me that there's a new coach who's better than what they were. For me, there was nothing. And I don't believe there will be nothing also this season. Once the season starts, I think there will be nothing still. I don't believe that this guy, Fernando da Cruz, there's a reason why this guy, come to think of it, 10-10, was actually Nabi's assistant this squad. He came in as Nabi's assistant, just like Cedric Carter, just like Ben Yusuf. So I'm not expecting anything from him. I'm beginning to think that's why Nabi said the person that he wanted the most was Cedric Carter. He was happy that he joined the Skukune head coach. I think Kaizer Chiefs lost, and this guy, Ben Yusuf, spoke to Andy. He said Chiefs need 5 players, quality players, in order to challenge Sundowns and Pirates. They have not signed those 5 quality players, because I cannot count Moloisane that is a quality player. He didn't mean players like Moloisane. He meant someone higher level than Moloisane. He didn't mean also someone also like Lena, a reserve goalkeeper. He meant someone who's going to play. I don't know. We are running away from the question, 10-10. I need a straight answer before we wrap. Is Kaizer Chiefs ready for the new season according to you? If they are ready, how far do you think they will go? Because they are back. The league is starting on the 1st of August, right? Today is the 21st of August. No, 21st of July. So The league is very close, less than 2 weeks away. The kickoff will start. We can't now. The only thing that can happen at Kaizer Chiefs, it's maybe finally after 60 weeks, after 10 weeks, they can say they welcome Peel. Again, we don't think Peel will now instantly become a solution if they manage to sign him. Because for me, it looks like there's a problem with Kaizer Chiefs. If they can't sign a 21-year-old, to sign a 21-year-old whose contract is expiring next season, it takes them the whole preseason. It looks like there are problems the Chiefs that we are not aware of, honestly speaking. Do you think Chiefs are ready for the next season? How far do you think they will go? For me, they are not ready. I think they will be fighting to be in the top 8. I know that I said they can compete last season when Pirates won the league. I thought Chiefs would compete because I was so impressed with how they were playing against teams like Skoko, frustrating Orlando Pirates, frustrating Mamelodi Sundowns. I thought from last season, they will only go a step further from where they were. Because last season, it looks like Chiefs will go to KZN and beat Amazulu. We'll go to Polokwane and beat Sukukuni. We'll go to PE and beat Chippa United. We'll go to Loftus and not lose to Sundown. That is the Chiefs I was expecting next season. That's why I said Chiefs can even win the league. But now I'm doubting that 10-10 because there is lack of activity in the transfer market. They are not signing the right players. They are releasing the wrong players. Releasing Achille Dupree without replacing him is wrong. PE, I thought the coach will improve players like Achille Dupree, who has a huge potential. Releasing Lilepo, it's almost madness. I feel like they're not ready for I think they are releasing key players of last season, or even those who are not key players, good squad players. I'm not sure. Even George Mashow, he was a squad player. If you release him, you must replace him. Otherwise, some of the players who were ahead of him, like Mabowe, you find that they were playing that well because players like Mashow were pushing them to become bad. You can't just, and the left back, now Frosler was playing as a left back. The guy is a right back. He's never been a left back. We used to play for Vets. We've been watching football. He's never been a left back. For me, it looks like there's a moomish going on at Kaizer Chiefs. Or maybe they just don't want to win the league. Maybe the supporters want to win the league. We want Chiefs to win the league. They don't want to win the league. What will take about that? Do you think are ready for the next season? I don't know.
You know, in my opinion, Nadim, I think they did fairly well, the co-coaches, like you say, to finish number 3. And they were Nabi's assistant. They did better than him. And this coach was Nabi's assistant as well. So chances of him doing better than him are high, you know. But I would still love to see Kaizer Chiefs signing quality players that are going to compete with the quality that they have, or that are going to push the quality that they have to improve, so that I can say they are ready to compete with Pirates and Sundowns for the league. I'm not sure if I've answered your question.
Do you think they are ready for the new season? That's the question.
With the squad that they have, they can be ready for the season, but ready not to compete for the league against Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates until they replace the players that they've lost. With Achille Dupree, yes, as much as he was not playing that much, but you saw his impact when he was introduced because of his pace and whatsoever. Yes, he had mistakes, but he was a threat, you know, whenever he was given the opportunity. With Ulilepo, he was one of their goal scorers. They need to find a replacement that's going to either score goals or that's going to push Abomaye to score goals. With Fabian, also, I think, Mina, it's a concern because not Fabian, Eden. Why am I busy calling his dad? With Eden was a left-footed centre-back, and they haven't replaced him, or they did not replace him with a left-footed centre-back. That, for me, unless they are going to play somebody who is comfortable playing with the left while using his right foot, you know. But if they do find those replacements, find a left-footed centre-back, they find a replacement guard, if he does happen to leave the Kaizer Chiefs, they find a replacement Gamatlo who's going to perform better than Umatlo, because we saw his contribution when they won the Nedbank Cup. They find a replacement guy, Achille Dupree. Then I would say Kaizer Chiefs is ready to compete like the top 3 teams that we have in the PL.
No, 10-10. There I'm answered. You are very clear, 100%. And I'm in agreement with everything you said. I think the problem with Kaizer Chiefs, I don't know if maybe they don't have a budget to sign players. I think that could be that they don't have the budget to really sign players. What could be the reason they're still negotiating Langelihle Pili for so long? Actually, you can even see
is one of the teams, as Nadim, but Kaizer Chiefs is one of the teams that has so many sponsorship. I doubt finance would be a problem, unless maybe they are just calculative with how much they want to spend. Because I don't think, apart from Orlando Pirates, there's other teams who have sponsorship than Kaizer Chiefs do have. You can count them. They probably are way more than the one hand. So I know with sponsorships, they come with money. Or probably some sponsorships don't come with money, but they come with things that are going to help you save money and you not spend your own money. And you can take that money and generate it in improving your team. And if finance was a problem,
if what they're saying is the truth, why are they always relying on free agents? Why are they not signing players? When last did you see a player, Chiefs, putting an offer and signing a player, just like Pirates did to Ngwato from Swelele or Apolis at Polokwane City? They put an offer and sign a player. That's it. No stories, no
it's been
negotiation.
a while. It's been a while, seriously. But
So what could be
the
the
reason why
reason?
I'm
Because
saying, maybe that's their way of saying we'd rather spend the money in making sure that the players are well paid, they are well treated, instead of spending money in buying a player and having to spend money in paying a player, Because I doubt they would go for international coaches if they did not have the budget. That's just my concern. That's what I'm thinking. If they did not have money, they would have opted for coaches that they had. They would have opted for coaches that they have in the development. But to show Uguti finances doesn't really look like it is a problem at Kaizer Chiefs. They go outside to source for a coach. Chances are he's not coming here being paid with rands. Even if they pay him in rands, but his value is being rated with either dollars or euros, we don't know. But there's a high possibility. I don't think as a European coach you'd come to South Africa and want to earn 10,000 rands, or you're going to charge according to the dollar rate that you belong in. So for them, going for a highly rated coach who comes with so many accolades or so many badges up his sleeve, then it means the finances are not a problem.
Okay, then if finances are not a problem, why are they always not signing their side? I think finances
Unless
might. I think they
maybe
might
their
not be a
scouting
problem.
department is a problem. That could also be a factor. You look at Orlando Pirates, they've signed so many players, but I can rest assure you with some of the players that they've signed, I know. It means they have the right people who's got the right eyes to spot the talent, you know, and they are not compromising when it comes to that. And they are smart that they sign them while they are not yet being popularly known, or they sign them while they are not yet that expensive, so that a team can cough up a lot of money instead of you paying 15 million for a player that you can get paying 5 million. Then you weigh your options. Then they need to improve their scouting department to make sure they find a Ashley Dupree somewhere, even if they go a Soweto or they go a Cape Town or they go a KZN in the rurals. Because Orlando Pirates did that. They went Bayotola Bombogazi, they went a Val Bayotola Riledule Mufukeng. I think they have the potential and capability, and they've shown us prior they have the ability of signing quality players. They had players like Abu Jabupule, Abu Skarangobese, the list goes on, Nadim. So the loss of some of the legends that were working at Kaizer Chiefs, I think also comes in handy in them lacking to sign the players that were exciting for the supporters to love and make sure Guti they hype them up to improve the team.
Yeah, but the fact remains that Chiefs are not signing the right players. One, there are factors that it could be one, money, that they simply don't have the finances to buy players outright like Langeli Shapir. That's one of them. And two, could be Kaizer Motaung Jr., the sporting director, is the wrong person who's running the team. Maybe they need to get someone who can really have, as you say, rightfully so, someone like Mpumi Khoza, someone who has an eye for talent, someone who can really get players that can really be at Kaizer Chiefs level and improve the team, because I don't think Chiefs are better than what my worry now. Chiefs are not better than where they were. They are weaker than last season. I don't care about the coach if he's coming in Europe or not. This coach was Nabi's assistant. If he was Nabi's assistant, it means there's a reason why he was an assistant. Just like, and he doesn't have the advantage of Ben Yusuf and Cedric Katz. Cedric Katz have the benefit of being there for a full season and getting to know the league, getting to know the players, being part of Chiefs. Then the second season, obviously, they did well. They perform above expectations, which they took Kaizer Chiefs from position 9 to number 3. And now I was expecting that Chiefs will move from number 3 to number 1 because I thought one will keep the same coaching team from last season. They will keep the core team that was playing. They will add more. Maybe add a clinical striker, add a proper number 6, not release their best players. Because now I'm in a position where Kaizer Chiefs have released three of their starters last season. They released Krele, who played a lot of games. They released Lilepo, who was a start. They also released Makadi, who was even the best player at Chiefs. With that, so I think they are starting the season on a back foot, but we're going to see they are playing Toyota Cup against Scotland. I think they will be tested, even though I don't know how to make, but I think they'll be tested in the first game of the league anyway. The Toyota Cup, it won't tell us the whole story because the preseason tournament, Kaizer Chiefs have invited them in South Africa. We don't know if they're going to field their best players. It's just the Kaizer Chiefs preseason tournament. Obviously, Chiefs have been losing the tournament since they started anyway. They will pick a referee, pick an opponent, pick a stadium. They will still lose, but we don't know what's going to happen. Ten as we wrap, I don't. I'm not confident about Kaizer Chiefs. I think they are starting on a serious big foot simply because I'm not sure about the squad. The players they have is simply not good enough to compete against Orlando Pirates as well as Mamelodi Sundowns. The coach is new. Oh, you're sure they brought in Dylan Shepard as an assistant coach. Maybe that is going to help in assisting the coach in understanding the players.
Yeah, definitely, Nadim. We just have to wait for the season and see, because sometimes preseason are not a true reflection of the preparations, because the body is still stiff, has been overloaded, and so that it is ready for the entire season, you know. So I think we just have to await the first 2-3 games, and we see how Kaizer Chiefs have been well prepared to make sure they are ready to compete at the top where they want to compete. Because once you have a good and performing Kaizer Chiefs, you know the league becomes interesting. You know the Soweto Derby is going to be fire. You know your Kaizer Chiefs versus Mamelodi Sundowns, it's going to be exciting. So we want to see a better performing Kaizer Chiefs like they used to be, and so that they can improve their competitive edge in the Betway Premiership as well. But in my closing, I think money is not or shouldn't be a problem for teams to sign quality players, because we've got a lot here in South Africa, Nadine. It just needs people with the right eye, people to go in right places and be able to scout better quality players. It does not always have to resort to spending a lot of money in terms of improving your team. And Stellenbosch were one of the teams that are exemplary to that. Orlando Pirates became an example as well to that. You don't need to go and spend 20 million to sign one player and think you're going to compete in the league. You just need to find the right players and be able to puzzle them together and give you the best performances.
Yeah, indeed. You just need to assemble quality players and make a good team. Spain has shown us that, guys. You don't need to be having superstars to be a formidable side. Just get quality players all around. A team can improve. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. That was our reaction regarding the current news as well as Kaizer Chiefs. State of Kaizer Chiefs. We're gonna come back during the week and look at Pirates. How ready are they? Because even at Pirates, I still believe they need a goalkeeper and a striker. 2 position. Okay. Yeah, then they need a goalkeeper and a striker. Do you disagree?
No, I'm just laughing that you're saying that. I said that last season, but if you're saying this while the season is about to begin, that means there's something that you saw.
Yeah, there's something I saw. Pirates will not win the Champions League with Chain as a goalkeeper. I saw they've already conceded 2 goals in the preseason, and both games it was China was making a mistake. His ball anticipation is terrible. Look at the Spanish goalkeeper, Unai Simon. Immediately there's some unclear is there. Even he moves like a lightning. He's not relaxing. China is unbothered. He's always sitting there. Immediately you mark a player, he's just gonna try and stop. Proper keepers, they are always ready that if one of the defenders get easily dispossessed or lose the ball or lose balance, he fall. Just like in Barca and Macau, I think they foul each other there. Then Dube created a chance, Pulemodi scored in the tap. A proper goalkeeper. Immediately, Dube is coming up. He was going to be there in the face. That is a proper goalkeeper. The brilliance of a goalkeeper. China is a good goalkeeper, not a great goalkeeper. Pirates need a great goalkeeper. Guys, thank you so much. Keep on subscribing, and we thank you for the comments and the likes. Continue liking and subscribing. See you soon, guys.